muto nyati yofu bara kabrali alla script da fa pareda akoy tan tolbela ko kula man ta kuja so wora molta tar la siring tara daring kavoko hay ko karamu rebelol and then we all shut up on that. Even our conscience will not be clear on that, and we will go into the details of cool tata nyaming and minaketa ale useno boja muta on the 13th of September. On the 13th of September lungo min aliya muta aliya bare muso fana muta o ko la le manake altati la kordal kono ye korda aliye je sa nyaaw nyaamal manki di jeje altara la sista la kordado aliya asaj fa selta la bilo fo sando an jolal ni la kol ala kon nim boxo fo ngali wala ko do be jolo nan duma al manki di jeje aliya la broda ares al manki di ku moy je aliya la telephone o saj ila classmates ol dolbe yale sister ni mo ares on thoughts that she was his girlfriend mi manke tonyat aliya ares aliya nyini ka nyaaw nya ko manki di ku long tane aussi non denda class kilina drong bare mang I have nothing to do with whatever either he has done or not done ba aussi ni mana fo sister ni weje mela number di nyin la yela number tan na telephone lo kono ndama fo ko kidi be mbulu wala nga kidi di tela or whatever ni nyini ka wala o manke tonyat ni ndamu dajane be mbute kanja you whisked him away and you took the lady back wala mol kay ko nyin ko kana mo yela ko because wol man la fi masakunda diamol wala tilimbal ya diamol baram furata tembal to mi yalon control dol ten den wala andum amanke consider ta masakunda diamol wala hanyita masakunda diamol baral man to nyala fo. And then we all cannot sit on lies and accept that let me follow to nyata no what a kinola buru food based on dal ko seno bojam manke rabeloti or adam baro la masakunda buru food be yalon ko la masakunda buka to nyaf ado buru food based on dal ko ale mi ngomi for the is a fabrication on this dude. So aliya la molla fengol be sa aliya la molla ares nyaaw nyaal man kido jeje. That is why you told the journalist that you did not talk about any gun recovery, because at that point aliya la nako nyimbo yonte mama la audio de sela moy mama la audio la fo audio bang pak ita moy la dato nyimbo ka fa damin ko nga police falek. So anin tol min kulura sate kile nin tol be ko mendela no ngala nako rebel nteng. What do you expect of us? That is hypocrisy, and that is not the hypocrisy we're going to accept. We are not coming out to say, oh yeah, Karman, but Karman can rebel timbo falat. And who killed the cops? If that keeps boiling your blood, I'll transmit a hold. It's just like you telling me one of the dudes I grew up with, I crime like a Draco rebel, and you expect everybody to be quiet. His classmates in their WhatsApp groups will say, yeah, and told me to say this and that or whatever, because it's government. We've seen what has passed. Gambians are still traumatized by the 22 years of, a brutal regime in one way. Gambia's regime is brutal. People have their different thoughts about everything. Or whatever. It's like, oh, okay. You are defending the UDP. So Gambians have diverse mentalities about things, but it is the UDP that the government intended to frame. So ben dola community to na nyolon ye na menta ye. Ni jeki he was hired to kill, he was paid to kill, part of the money was recovered, he was in the Casamas rebellion. Moro, why? Why on earth will government go this low? Ning ayatara tonya alafta tonya doronelon. But a moja lefara Gambia ni wati soto neokono. Where did you hear the president give a 1 million bounty? Ika moja lefurel tombo Gambia ni wati neokono. Where did you hear the police make a press conference and give a bounty towards that? None. And you know why Mama Jabi said Oseno Bojan killed the cops? Nyinkera Lungomena on the 12th. On the 13th, Oseno left for Casamas because of his problem with another 2-hour problem. On arrival at Jululum, what Alf Hussein Dari said is like, he's troubled or he's crying. And I mean for Alf Hussein Dari at the garage was that, Nina to have a problem also, a family nila and all that. And Mama Jabila audio to Wale Fotaji Kotenke. So that same word that was said to Al Hussein Dari at the garage was corroborated in Mama's audio that they said is lost. But why would the state even say that audio is lost? And that is the incriminating audio. That is the main subject of arresting this dude. What sa nimbe to nyafala. Police all ko itoli code le use pour ka Usainu arrest. But Usainu found manta, traffic light that day. Now, even in the midst of thousands of people, how were you able to know that this is Usainu's number, this is Usainu Bojang, or this is this person? Let's track this single number. How do you know that? Omun technology si fault. Even GIS experts, nobody will tell you, ko, in 1,000 people will cannot drone. There is nothing to show. I'm just tracking. Oh, were you randomly tracking all numbers within that vicinity, even though Usainu was not even there? So so sai ni manual ko itolle Usainu bole Senegal la gendarmerie la nata arrest. DIG ko control nga code le use pour ka Usainu arrest. Oto jumala be to nyafoka. But what DIG killing ko Sankare ko, Usainu Bojang was the guy at UDP la, court case to in Banjul, and he was the guy in Hoodie. UDP finite atanina mimu Hoodie. Wala nyinti ko tenke ko Usainu Bojang te wati. Nin sabanjambale ko nyoka be do wala Brikama area council Usainu Bojang te wati. They will not tell us that all of these things are mistaken identities. No. They are deliberately structured in that way. Ya dada wala nyama. Eboraje kwenye he was paid to kill and he was lodged in a in a motel. Olbe mangeto nyat. Eboraje kwenye ko kodo mi ya lonko ya jo wala la part of it was recovered. Where is the money? Where is the money that you've recovered from Usainu Bojang? Ali ala family mo dali intimidate nyaaw nyaal man kido jebul. E man kidi sodom. And that is why you had to go and fabricate all your witnesses. So not a la witness o katol yako. On the day of the incident, he wrestled down the gunman. But among gunman, in for den ka koyo bala for uler ngola bala, for half time la bala te mo lon no, but ate o wrestle no down. Because it was dark. But at this same darkness, he was able to pick the gun. But even whereas he picked the gun, akaya la boss la call kaya ko mfele ngayon kido tomonya o kaya ko amabo dulato. Kana for moye, I will arrange for it to be picked up. Muna atina la boss kaya kana for moye, la boss la mong haji le beje. But han wo be ate o pick aya mabo dulato o kordami alon ko amamballo la mabo woto muna atina ma for police olye. Muna atina itoliye de wokan for 10 days. Not a police ole min foko itolmo kido chika for tilitang. Why would it take the police 10 days to pick that gun? Do we ask the question? But at the same time, the police were busy intimidating Usainu Bojang's family to produce a gun that they know nothing about. When they realized they could not get any gun from this family, what did they do? Ela witness on you fabricate ko ha ntala kido jenga kido muda. By muna atina natara kom tonya. This gun cannot be subjected to DNA test. Simply because it was exposed to sunlight and heat for 10 days. Muna atina almang watchman o nala boss arrest katu. Well, then they would have done what we call concealment. Muna atina almo wala arrest. Ninto nya beje. Ni wala yo conceal. Muna atina almo wala arrest. Alko wala to la witness out. On top of that, soldier all ming alko, they were actually, running after the gunman. These soldiers that they got their call records and were calling each other. But at the same time, he can always turn and shoot at you, and you can take cover on a fence line. But yet he got to a watchman, and the watchman could wrestle him down. Watchman of an amount and of Akanata or fire boom, kidol. Now, Momi along Cattle be obandikan dibokono. Wakaton a cattle boom kidol, Atolka covata on fence line. I'm getting bullet. How do you know? How do you even see this person from a long distance? Because you are able to tell the distance between you people and him. But then the watchman could not even tell his clothing. So Atolba Momin Jakang Ali in what clothing? That those 3 soldiers. That you can take a cover because he was shooting at you, but you cannot tell his clothing. Yela funny algel. Iko alda malbe silo kambara alda malbe nyo call come from your call record. You're funny algel. So you did not pick the gun on that day, even though your witness picked the gun that same day. Why didn't the police pick the gun on that day? Why didn't you arrest this witness to say you concealed this for 10 days, and that is why we cannot do a DNA on it? But these are just co-conspirators. So there you can see basically where the trouble is. Is this same gun that they picked, they said, they never sold us. Police only a gun wo gun Gambia, we see it online. Why this specific one is nowhere visible? Why this specific case having a 1 million bounty when other people have been murdered in the Gambia without a single $1 bounty? Yeah, Jamel. One thing is some of us growing up seeing the way Jammeh actually worked within the system, and living within a military setting, we understood how all of these things work. Back then, as a kid, living in a military setup, people think, oh yeah, you're stubborn, they give you to your dad's brother who is a military major, But they basically understand that it's not being stubborn, it's being conscious of what happens within your environment. So, now, let's get to the taxi driver. Taxi driver, imagine you kill 2 people. You don't even know how to run to let's say, to the border and go away. You had to go back to Brufut. Wait for your sister to come and pick you and take you to Brika. Now, bring us the call logs of Hussein Obojang that night. If that night he had called his sister and there was that communication forth and back between him and the sister to a point that the sister got to Brufut. Imagine if I kill somebody and call my sister and say, oh, I killed somebody. Maybe she would faint before thinking of getting a cab to make me escape. But imagine somebody who lives in Serekunda, you kill people at Sukuta traffic light, and you have to go back to Brufut and sit in your house, wait for her to leave, Serekunda to come all the way to Brufut to pick you and take you to the border. You're funny, and then, ala sister ya pick katoli ya for nyaming, I asamba for Brikama, from Serekunda to Brufut, from Brufut to Brikama, from Brikama to Marakisa, 30 minutes drive away or vakate or body. And a transporter buko body, Fanyaman Tambiwala. But kabiri futata Brikama ikumasta sonko like a sonka manala usena kaya ko nonta dunna public transport vehicle kono because police ole konyako nkana adum public transport la. But now ask that taxi driver who took Useno Bojang's sister and Useno from Brufut to Brikama. I sila jumala ta purka futa Brikama la gara sot. Ning ayatara ko Useno ka malla fika Brikama gara sot ko ada malla fika public transport ta. He needed to take a different kind of transport. Then how did they move from Brufut all the way to Brikama? Police wasiloka. Natara komi police will avoid kam. Now on top of that, kabiri Brikama gara so look, some of us went to school at the UTG back then. Farabalo nyinti Brikama nimfitiro etara woro. Some of us wouldn't even take evening classes because nimfitiro etara woro alongo janiwe futale maybe dutalalo what. And at that time, Brikama fitiro ni watamira mobuka dungara so kono molbe kanalo sila balakang. So how comes he took Useno Bojan to Brikama garage around midnight? Yala hani Brikama nkolo fama mi yala nkon ni buka beng. Oli yala noko bulfuru nkonyi mam police olfa. Alda balan wala mtonyati. Ali yala noko anala gara so doka alo gara snoro. Fitiro ni watamira mobuka duo gara so kono. Wala mtonyati. So then even the generality of things, people can tell that look, kula manta kuja. But on top of that, iko kabiri futata gara soto wali yela ko befo ni jola kan bar kabiri futata mo fa ko do ko mbar nga kan for drive way mi moy ani nyama to fon bu ko ke. Y'all understand that? Ani nyama to fon bu ko ke. So kabiri woketa wali yo fon jola kan. Now let's come to the reality. Hani ayatara ko wal futata farola ko ya fon kan wala te mi moy. Now he understood that this person has committed a crime. He has committed murder. And because he did not want to use public transport, did the driver now say that, did Useno tell the driver, no, what can somebody selabal and somebody do masilola? Which road did this driver took to take Useno to the border? Natale was sambo Usuto Karangal Usuto Useno Besuolokon. So Kate will have for yamming. Natale was sambo Usuto, I tell somebody Sila Jumala Usuto to avoid the police. Natala come Omar Lafika public transport because he was going to avoid the police. But which public transport moved around 11 Suto Kara border in the Gambia from the garage? Brikama garaso ntolonga garaso millon Brikama fitir ko la mola ka duwot wano ko master silan. So you see how they all, and then kabiri wakate ko moro ntela area understand ko wale police for why did he continue to take this person? Then he's an accomplice, knowing fully well that this is a guy who said he had murdered someone. Why are you moving him to the border? Goto mona atinde manyin drive of an arrest. Bare ñin la muy tolla conspirator ye mini fen, and they fabricated their stories, and the story man talino memo to ñaate drong wala sankare me fo. Now Ale Useno Bojana classmate Ares, intimidated her. She told you that she has nothing to do with killing. She doesn't know anything about any gun. You did not get a gun from Useno's family. You did not get a gun from his friends. You did not get a gun from him, and then you fabricated your stories and produced a gun that you know nothing about. And do you know why you produced that gun? Because there was nothing else you could tell the Gambians. And what Atina Kabiri Momodo Gajaga Yenyininka talked about gun recovery, what type of a gun type is. The police were so agitated by that question. and provocatively told him to listen carefully because they did not say that. Why were they so agitated about the question about a gun? Because a gun was involved. But they could not talk about the gun at that moment. You know why? Expertly, if they talk about a gun type at that point in time, it would be very so premature for them to do that. But then they had to wait to, porque la plan so la ko tenge nimbe kido fintin da bakidi nyadi la fintin, it must be a gun me along kamantaran tolla amoril kona jang, so that it will not be seen as this is one of us who actually did this act. And that is exactly what the ballistic examiner told us. That out of the 400 ballistic examinations he had done, this is the single gun type with this name that he had done. So while they were waiting, that was basically what they were planning. So you look at the plan on the gun, you can tell why the first time they did not bring out the gun. They never talked about the gun. They never agreed the recovery of the gun. And then they later came out to say it's a gun type that is rare and that is not found. That is the first time the guy did it. That means it is not found within the Gambian armories to cleanse themselves. So ikajelo ko nyimbu ko mumimbe fansani ando la tapale ya kokono. Bari nyimmo kilingol le kontole ko molle useno bojanjo, molle abula mofala abota UDP la UDP la court case to in Banjul. But we also understood that during that court case in Banjul, UDP yela modolo bute yela fo ka complain la WhatsApp group ol ko pata jale tel ka nyinken na molle iba nyinjalale. So it is not a coincidence that another party Jallo is killed. That cannot be a coincidence. It is a master plan. And on top of it, even if it was a coincidence, where did Sankare get his entire script? How? Somebody hired him to kill. How? Now that this person basically was at this point and he was able to shoot and kill 2 people within a speed of time, and then whereas people are mobile, he's able to kill 2, escape 3 military men, escape a watchman, escape everybody in the Gambia, just to call his sister to come and take him to the border or wherever, and then arrive in Jululum just to sit at the garage and be crying that and this is a person who had already just killed 2 people, in a very professional assassination. And he is a rebel, but yet doesn't know how to go back to the rebellion in Casamas, and he could easily just go to a garage and start crying. This is what the government of the Gambia want us to believe. Even whereas some of us grow up with him and we know him from childhood to date, you tell us that he's a rebel and you still want us to believe that. So Sankare's entire script has revealed the evil in government. So why did you give Mama Jabi 1 million if actually DIG Soko itola codes nyol ye will apply and their whatever nonsensical codes that they had applied, and they move from one point to another and they track this boy until they arrive in Casamas and he was handed over to them? Then that was an excellent job by the police to go and arrest the person. Why give Mama Jabi 1 million? Why? That raises the question. No, whereas you even gave her the 1 million, why did you give her the 1 million? Because she recorded Usainu Bojang talking about Natubabo while Mama was screaming on top of her voice, hey, police, little, hey, police, because Mama, smartly, you know what she did? She heard the information of the killing of the cops prior. Now that Usainu arrived on the garage and is crying and talking about a white person's whatever, they directed him to Mama, who is said to be a so-called Marabu. On arrival at Mama, you look at the body condition of this person and the mental state of the person. You then connect it. And then, smartly, she wanted to frame the dude, while the dude was constantly talking about Tubabo, Teninina, Molfango, Dunta Nyola, Wolfango, Hainange, Bolose, Nyaonya, Pareko, Tambita, La Keratan, Ainaka Bagasul, Beta, Kebe, Nila. Listen to that. While this boy is talking about Tubabo, Bagasul, Beni, Lange, Bulgana, Molbolose, Nyaonya, Mama is talking on top of her voice. Italy police all far. And then when you talk about that, they want to tell you, oh, you're doing politics. We are ready to do politics, if that is what politics means. No. So that's the whole plot. Now imagine the military major, who is more or less, the guy who did, the ballistic examination. Ako. Kaberin ballistic examination of Bekela. A request ni send nang through CDS, the Chief of Defense Staff. Now, Atela boss latte assigned, like the office of the CDS would have assigned him to do the ballistic examination. Upon finishing with the ballistic examination, we know, protocol-wise, he would have returned his report to the office of the CDS, and CDS will now take it to the institution that requested it by protocol, from my understanding, unless if the CDS had minuted that upon finishing this report, send it directly to the police. If otherwise, he would have sent it back to the CDS, and then the military would send it to the police. So if that is the case, how can the CDS or the entire armed forces send a report to the police that has no date? The author cannot tell when he did it and how long it took him to do it. We are not here to defend Usaino, but we will defend the truth that he is not a rebel. Because even though the police got his phones, 2 of his phones, they did not submit them to the investigation. Oh, Detective Ibuso has the phones. Wherever he kept the phone, left to him. If he had submitted them, left to him. But then, if you open Usaino's phone, you would know what he was doing that entire night. And if you wanted to know all his call logs, the state could have gone to all the where his numbers are registered and get all his call logs. Monat in a state working. Because Usaino's phones already have clearly put the dude out of this case. But they wouldn't do that. You know why? Because they know they did something wrong, and the only thing they could do is and we prosecute him on that basis. Because back then, this is what used to happen in this country: single narrative prosecution and incarceration. This is exactly what you people wanted to do, and this is exactly what you are doing. Sankare, as the spokesperson of the government, a whole government spokesperson, came to West Coast Radio to lie about a young man. You people are in government, that's very fine. But because when you were saying this, you did not even say the police told you. You said the preliminary investigation has revealed. So that tells you that came from your investigation. So already that tells you that this is a perfected script, because everything that Sankare told us was a complete script. Ni momo malla wala mo kilie bobulu fuda na ja foko useni rebelo tonyalo wala mo ya foko nga useni lo ne tonyalo rebelo lo na soro da nafa uli ala tambida wala. So Sankare ite o befo o kola, you turn around and say ndama for the police or la befonye. And police came out to take full ownership and responsibility for everything Sankare said, including saying that Usainu Bojang is a rebel, he was hired to kill, part of the money was recovered, he was lodged in a motel. Why will the police say this about the killing of men who work as police officers in that country? Betrayal le tambira wala. Abukola Kondela work institution, for instance, the University of the Gambia, coming out to say this kind of fabrications about my death if something like that happened. How would you feel? Those families might just be quiet and then, looking, because they are quite helpless. These are young people who basically, had just started their policing career. Aliya will sacrifice wala nyamadro. Ko beta nada Allah fa UDP min ban la ko manda ko, and you basically get to understand that nganyimbo mi muda nyimman hani ko ko kenyindula. Allah bulay taala hajola. But then you want to keep him. And then, you want to prosecute that single narrative, even knowing that the entire country knew that something did not go right. And then you want to tell us that he's a rebel, and you want some of us who grew up with him to just accept that? I saw days ago, not long ago, with a couple of ministers who came over here, and I told them exactly how I feel. That this is the truth. And you know what they successfully did? Somebody I grew up like in the UK, like this dude, he could actually tell me stop this and I put a stop to it. That's the relationship, because Star and I had a very good relationship growing up all the way to date, and we've done quite a lot together. He used to be in the police. And one time he told me, you know what, I think you don't need to talk a lot about this police issue. It looks like something is not. No. Hey bro, man, yo, boy, definitely. When we put all one on one together, he understood that something did not go right. And Frida, bless Sunday. God bless all of us, man. Guy Tonya Tamadron. So what am I Tonya di? ko ndongo mi yalongo tonya ndola sare do mbenga longo karlo nyinti e jeki dure ko nyego mo rebelol e la fi mol be so wala alla witness wol be nata mo tanin saba hani kilima fono ko tonya karle nyinni. Now let's come to the facts. Why do you now want to release the sister after 10-11 months? Dina na meron be musomi mbulu al jeki tal ko this guy met his co-conspirators in a mosque and they provided him the escape vehicle. But what co-conspirator le al molo mot al jeki tal ala sister mot al kala sister lon ko so wala co-conspirator te sai e ofan ya fanan jet. He met his co-conspirators that night in the mosque and they provided him the escape vehicle. Now, somebody came out to say that he is the one who drove the sister from this and this. And is that the driver that they actually, hired to do that? Why didn't you arrest him? Now, at the scene, why was a vehicle of a police officer seen there and the number plate was all out? And you told us that was Usain Bojak's vehicle, but you later realized that this vehicle belongs to a police officer. And I'll taxi driver. But taxi driver be moto boranda mi manke taxi di promo. Mona almo moto nyi found arrest because if the taxi driver was using that as a taxi and that's a private vehicle, then that is wrong. And why was that at the center of controversy? You see all your fabrications? Mama jabi ko niaja tela audio fenketa te ala mu ala sim card lo bonda ala telephone ko na ala WhatsApp delete. DPP ko no mama ala telephone la tinyata. Fani akilen fet. Taxi driver ko 30 minutes ngola bor ka bo Bruford ka bo sera ko na Bruford brikama to Dasulame fani afula njang fel e jola kan fo kabiri futata mo fa ko do e kan fo ndanga mi moy fani asaba njang fel garaso re sonkata la ko police o kai ko akana dum passenger vehicle or whatever, but taxi driver it is sila jumalata purka police will dive or they tell you don't take this road because we are diving the police. Another fane woli ofo ite munat na ite wol samba ite alon ko wole mo fala ga fani anane njang fe iko efutara border to around towards midnight and somebody came and then wala abala sister tata mola kamana wala ni motorcycle nata aya pigje but al nata motorcycle tio min fam fe na ofananko the next day in the afternoon la ate bo nyinchika. You see the discrepancies fani alulu njang fe. DIG told us that the guy said he had the weapon from a long time and then he was with it at UDP la court case. Sankari said he was the guy in hoodie. So you be frame kanja. You might say, oh yeah, UDP is not my cup of tea here and there, but in the case of justice, to nyamo killing tamange fulati. Ani ya jamena ya mwenye sifa fontili UDP lo. Akoita nalo kwa lama nsala kavo ko UDP moli yambatandi. Salve batandi onyi na watajo bay kamfo. Albe batande UDP la batande wataji bayo la wala na lafta wala party ban almal albe ban na nyal ko alnga police lo fa nga light lo kam because and let make sure that we kill somebody called Pate Jallo because it be Pate Jallo to wurindi kam na la bota woto alena alma al failta woto lafta ko wala ndo boy noka alta la kan alni UDP ta bonyoto an yala wolbe deri be nyaka se kan ala lumbe sila albe to nya sabatin dilale. If you people want call us UDP sympathizers, UDP supporters, we don't care. If we can say something about Yaya Jammeh, who probably paid some of our fees and built us a university and probably give us scholarships to study in and outside of the Gambia, if we have the guts to say, no, dude, what you were doing was wrong, you think we are going to fear Barrow? No way. So, I don't get into persons or what people try to do or whatever, Nahajite olbedo. And some of these ilks that would jump to say, if you talk about the police, nila after police or la fenko dilat on the email address or dila or yabate diamol, I will not get into those little brats. That's not my thing. And some of the other people I have high regards for. But if you cross your line, bro, I put you to your spot, man. Dunia abe wala nyam. Ben furata tembol do mi yalan kon tolta sila kaljibe alka na sade dingo incarcerate alke intimidate alka tilimbali atili la tana kwaitan tol bela ko tonyante wodi aliye wuliya la kan kwaitan bela ko tonyante and then dolni way bo sade killing konta tonya fasa la uka and kwaita Gambia bela ko this boy is no rebel, he kill no cops and then ale monun ko daga wuliya mo jalle fada Gambia ja ale bounty jalle ke wodo amra ka mo le furel tombon dulal. Why didn't you put bounties to find the killers of those people? Now, the entire security apparatus, including the National Security Advisor, the Chief of Defense Staff, or probably, the IGP and Sankari and all, Muna press conference document. Muna Sankari diam da foko pada amurunda ko dala diamol be kuna ko haninte tanteng police ol tamu diamu nyinti. Ngali ala nako tonya mantaraje. So what adol laman sakundama was smart baggy. Yeah, as much as they tried to cover up, people knew what was happening. This is the same thing right here. So ndala haji fonte je na diarali. Men diarali okay, but you will not frame people we know, and we know they are no rebels. And it is our collective responsibility as neighbors in that community to defend the truth. Do what? My problem with this case was in the beginning. You and I sat in the same primary school class all the way through. So, Kabiriko in this Useno Boyandanga, it was one of your brothers. Honestly, if I am to be honest with you. So, I wasn't sure. So, I called my brother in Seattle. I said, go. Because so I was like, I was like, no, this is not a person I recognize. So I was like, maybe I would have understood. But then my cousin said, oh no, this is the dude that comes to the hood, my friend here. And I was like, no, because I never thought it could be him. He never even crossed my mind. So I was like, go, but because first I heard, oh, Bojankunda, then I thought, okay, maybe it was either, from your hood or probably, somebody around. But later I realized that no. Sankare's entire script revealed to the entire Brufut ko tonyaman sotonyento. Isi nyo de niya ko do lakang. Ne mo tonya di kalon. Ano mo sa mo fa keno, that's very true. But ni ko beaten thing ko, karamo rebel. It's like somebody telling me, Osman, from childhood is a rebel, and you want to agree to that. No. Oseno is no rebel. He killed no cops. He has no business with the cops. He was not there. The people that framed the killing of the cops are the police. They knew something about the killing of their own men. Because Odla Fangumanke police ultaradlati. Not police ultaradla as in the PIU. Sukuta traffic light is not a position for gunmen to be at. It's for the traffic police to control the traffic because it's a roundabout. Right? But then within a certain period, they start putting this very young junior, men to be there. Inexperienced men, many along kuno will join the police. You know why they did that? That was planned. And then this Pate Jallo at the center of, all of these, Kavoko, it's not a coincidence that Pate Jallo is killed. This same Pate Jallo's brother was killed by Yaya Jammeh's regime. And we saw you sitting on TV complaining and crying. You are perpetrating the same bullshit in this country. And then you're putting it on other people's relatives. And when it was done to your relative, you were all over crying, and people knew that was wrong to do. But a beatela toka for Kavoko, it's not a coincidence that somebody named Pate Jallo is killed. You are the one who was doing all those malpractices to the UDP folks until they were talking bad about your excesses. And then you people decided to kill somebody who bears the same name as you. And then you came out, your police high command came out to lie about it. And that is exactly what Sankare told us. What a kenola coincidence. You better tell no Omar Malmo, you mo buri la tomorrow you hear somebody else is killed with the name Malmo. And then he's still serving in the same institution and you have a moleko. No, it's a coincidence. Even if it is a coincidence, why did you people come out to say that he works in Brikama Area Council? Now, the government has the entire government machinery. Fengofen diate, after information, they could know it within the speed of time. They have access to every information. Why didn't you wait to verify this information from Brikama Area Council before coming to the media to make those stupid allegations? Why? Useno Bojan does not work in Brikama Area Council. But Moba Kenola Rebelo Dinyarila at the same time he works at Brikama Area Council. Or is an ex-rebel? So why did you even want to connect him to Brikama Area Council? Because Yankuba Dabola Beoto. Omu UDP let. Na ajita UDP la political. That's my right. Why did you say he was in the UDP court case in Banjul in Hudi? Because UDP lomo. Why did you say a political establishment hired somebody to kill? Who are you? Which political establishment are you talking about? Already you talked about him working in Brikama Area Council and was at the UDP court case. UDP lomo. And then a Pate Jallo is killed, but Jumalebe complain kan Pate Jallo kuola, UDP lom. But ka Pate Jallo minna kuo complain almo fare because that's a very senior officer. Al tata nyindofa. Al hale minifa. The sad part of the story is that the two people you killed, one of them, his father was framed in a similar story. Ya jamela wato. E mola fafo ena illa fafo jumal la fa inata inata landi fo famala bundal to ban or whatever. The dad was in prison for almost 15 years. Nimbo mi manja ko bo mi aliya fa tenting. Afama left jail not too long ago for a false allegation after spending a lot of time in prison on something that was done by the state. This man's family has been a serious victim of state manipulations. He was in jail for several years. He came out. Amantara jikiri mola naman kanyi fon alayin dinke killing. Ali ofana because he wanted to kill that part of jala. Taman kana no wala ali ofana fa okona. Joe yala tambida wala. Joe yala tambida wala ba. Ali mono ali afondo lego usino bojang wala mo rebelul. O mo ne okere rebelul. You see what you people do? And then you have people like, look, my best of folks work in the police force. The thing that I would never regret and that I really would be very pleased with my parents with is that there was a time back then when you complete university, you have all these young folks that, you play soccer with, and they were all like, police will sign, Nitaraji with a degree, they give you cadet ASP. We all wanted to join the police. But because my dad had the military background, it's like, no way. You're not doing that. Because first I was like, I'm not going to do no medical school or whatever. Like, look. You want to tell me you're unintelligent here and there. Nigga, I went to high school with people I went to school with now. I completed school with top grades. I could study anything I ever wanted to. I do what I want to do. That is what you don't know. And some of you you start talking about, okay, you want to do this, you want to do that. Some of you got names of, or you valedictorian. You were never valedictorian because of your grades. We got the first UEP, graduation list, not even honors grade point. Valedictorian on the basis of you were basically student union president. What nonsense is that? Only at defend young kununko, imang tilimbali akumo for ebo molan talo tala kada safeje. Youths are happy. We confront you on basic issues of calling other people hypocrite or betrayers, and then you want to go wild as if you are wildfire. You are nothing. And so when we talk about Useno Bojang, it's because we know him and we grew up with him. Ngete defend nyam imbol fanan defender wala nyam wala mutonyat. Gola nakabire police wala mude ilafte wala na arrest. But a lot of young people would say, you know what, let this guy be, bro. You don't know this guy. But that's the fact about you. Because police only arrest minna, more dole findite be protest la wol form min ka protest kete. Iko police only ko karnyol be asylum la wala tane be in protest la nteme bulala. That is how a snitch you are. So mfurada wala tembodo. You took your political position, you moved to, NPP or whatever. UDP. I remember back then, I used to even tell you, look, UDP, stop this politics here and there. Every time you be arresting, but you now turn around to say, we're talking about the cops because we want, political asylum. Man. Boy, we've been around the world way before this regime came in, and this regime would meet us going around the world. We live in Europe legally. We live in America legally. So this dude we grew up with. But I'm wasa. In Nafigiani Hasidiati moment of drong, Ibuko mentality sifal about people that are close to you, that help you out in one way or another, it supported and defended you when it was hard. But Tolmugo regret that because when we defended you, we are defending the truth, not you as a person. And as we defend Hussein Oboja, we are defending the truth and defending the neighborhood and defending a youth from the hood who did nothing wrong. And that is very much clear to us. That is why, at some point it's important that young people work towards, personal independence. That you don't have, crazy people controlling your minds. You should be independent, skeptical at all times. Not everything that somebody tells you is true. Even experts make mistakes. Not everything that the police told us is true in this case, because you know what? I taught in the university. The first thing I would tell my students is that, you know, keep your independence and skepticism at all times. I am not perfect, just like any other professor in this university. Even experts make mistakes, and that is human nature. But police oba phone la nyari control nga code le use ning code le mbondi from this point to this point. Woman sort of any technology. We studied GIS. We do consultancies on related matters and related subjects, even as we speak in the Gambia. So if somebody comes not only in your area of expertise to talk about something that is not true, but also comes to frame somebody you know very well in the neighborhood, and then you expect my entire neighborhood to be silent about it. A lot of people are quiet because, you know, you might have police only arrest but we all know what's going on. And then we bear witness that this dude is our neighbor and he is not a rebel and he has never joined any rebellion because we went to school with him. All for kuyatali. But I don't understand. At all more information, relevant information, so the wale now fatally. This is what the regime said. Mankajang went to Kazamas, he came, why did you even arrest Mankajang? Kar Mankajang man femfa konta lang information also that he posted on Facebook. I'll see that drug you run and you arrested him. Why did you arrest Mankajang? And to date, Mankajang, whatever information he has, he never brought it out. Did you silence the dude? Did you force him to be quiet? What are you hiding if you wanted real-time information? Because you wanted to direct it in the way you want. You want a single narrative on this case to prosecute a single narrative and incarcerate on the basis of false allegations and single narrative prosecution. Because na criminal justice system kata mo le nyama. Mol jeki jeki de ka ko mo loyalty. Atole muna lo mol mamillo. Law and logic depends on the functionality of your brain. Mol nyama manyum banko kandi. Alman fello mol mamillo. Allah do ko nga bunyana hormo di Allah, take it. You are the officers, we give you whatever, but nale kuma foja mimange tonyati, we will tell you what you are saying is not true. And wala mu tonyati jam because I quite out of ko nyimbo manke abukolo ko, you know, you DIG or, you know, IG or Sankare, will you sit and tell your and allow people to say your son is a rebel whom you know and grow and you know brought up in your own hood? How do you even think these people's families are already you know bearing this? Altamim folal dingoli albo fola moko dangoli. And then, you know, the conformity of society. When you go ballistic on them and say, no, mani mirete, ita kana nyenge, hey, dunia tambira wala, Senegal man falling, you know, sonia kono, wala man falling kavogo, molle be daring, you know, tender. It was through thick and thin, blood and sweat, tonya sabatita. Tonya mansa kundale police olfa. Karuni man police olfa, munat nebe ulia folanye. Imam kuminge fa ila muhajile bodo, febe ulia folawdo. Ejeki ko karamula belol UDP nkolla haya wala nyinti ko itala dalilo be mumindi wala nyinti ko ilafta UDP la banna kar UDP wala meta ka foko pada jallo be na mol kana mol min tilimbali ay ba jalal. So ale pada jallo do fa to make it look like it's a coincidence, because you cannot kill that senior one, but you can kill this junior officer who is just from recruitment. Me along go sign on to join the police ali otariato ga foko pare while you were doing your press conference, the State House called you to stop your press conference. Why? Why did State House call you to stop the press conference? Because Tonyala Mantaraji. Why did Sankare deny everything he said that it was the police that said it? Because he knew everything about it was a lie. But Sankare, as a government spokesperson, why will you not even wait to verify? But Neo Fanam Fo to whom will we verify? Because it was given to him by the police high command. So why did the police high command lie about the killing of their own men? How are the police not feeling so disappointed in this? How are the police not feeling disappointed in this? Isn't this betrayal to your own men? If I'm a police officer, I would resign that day. That our own men can be killed and my own bosses can lie about it? No, it's not worth working in that institution no more. If I am a police officer, I would leave the force on that day. My best friend basically works in the police. This is a dude I could die today and leave my family to. And everybody knows that. Him and I have very close tie. But when it comes to this police issue, we sometimes, we don't even have to talk or whatever. I'm like, you know what, dude, do your thing. Because you police officer, I have an integrity to protect. I have a youth to defend whom I know I grew up with. Ni telephone untendela oda ni modo fantendela oka. So nafiki ya daji control talk simply because I'm in government or I'm enjoying. Please don't talk about this. No, I don't need anything from any government. I worked in the university and I still work in the University of the Gambia. That is not a central government position. Alhamdulillah. That is what you idiots don't know. I don't know better people tell you what exactly is going on. What my organization can put in terms of financial capacity, not even my job can. So my consultancies and what we do is way more than what a government position can offer. So if you think you got to shut up because you need a government job, I don't need that. So you and those ilks can just shut up and then mind your business. I have the right to say who killed the cops. If that boils your blood, die. Na haji tawdo. Daman sila wala di. Moli al horma ye horma murunni kan nila fa hormanta yatil na tambita wa stage to ka ko no mol manyene te jala teng. Hey, that conformity of society wala na banko be tinyare for bi. Hay ta kana nyen for you an intellectual what? Intellectual, you kill people and then you frame our brother in our community. You want to tell me, oh, you people should shut up because you are so-called intellectual? Where does intellect play a role in saving community? And other people will tell, no, boy, oh, we should shut up and allow our brother to be incarcerated. So the people of Brufut, I call upon all of you. And akweta lala ko sieno manke rebelti. Akweta atol ndodo lala ko hana atala dingol lala sonna mobe ediakam. Odan tambira watu lala kafo ko sila tamansa lala molla ka mansa tombong. Odan mansa ito nya tamandi. Imandang kan na bankol be mu da kabe ta kabe wa kabe janjani da malte mafoka uliala na mulka. I remember many years ago. Na bodo bi jani sa nga barando wala nga ba kabin police na rabru for boy e mama buntam boy faka busulu fay. I remember as kids, there was this issue with Tough and Yaya Jammeh about the 2005 for AU Summit Lumber. They came to Brufut, they want to take our entire land. So, we went there. Honestly, I was a very stubborn kid because I remember my mom was like, you people don't dare go around that end. I wanted to know what was going on. As a little kid, I went all the way there. They have all their this jujus on and all that, some of them, Katajalol ning berol be buli ba fola biwo manta borla, we will fight with the police. Yaya Jammeh did not come there with the paramilitary. It was tough. So all anani modol fenkere ka ko tough adunta ja. Tough ni paramilitary nara odla bo ka kabir ngol buntam fo ka busul fay kana ke bal bute. But because they were powerless, they could not do anything about it. They tried all means dialogue, it did not work. Violent, it did not work. They had to let go of their lands. What happened? Alia table This is how Brufut has suffered in the hands of government, from one to the other. You took all our prime lands. You give it to Tafanja, Murunda Korenga ke wafu million Allah. Amange Brufut lansare, amange Brufut dinte, ama wulujia, ama mamboja, famamboja, abamamboje. Tilimbali ala tambira wala. Albota wodo alla banda munakela alkata sayinga alkata la minister tema wala ba fudu dan tolti. And then you people would come and say, baroya tale dawoya tale haroya tale dawoya tale alta tala satelto. Albota daming, go to your villages and take your lands there. Almola satebula free. But albulu bakela man. Albe ulia la na funding kel kan, albe sorona for nothing, albe na bankol tala tilimbali akon. Fatol du munakela burfudu wala munakatolda. But then if you tell this to a Brikama guy that Brufut is the best place in the Gambia, they will start to grumble. You see how your government is all after our lands, demarcating and sharing it among themselves? The entire Brufut has had led to, insupportable burden of gentrification in our area. And our people still, when will we get justice? Nowhere. And because you know why? Even when this government came, that is the same thing they continued. alman bon na sare alman ken na sare dinti no alman fensoro na sare albena mo la bankol tala nyaade dal ko talal dam malte fatal lo nyumal. Go back to your communities and take your lands. Leave our lands. That one thing, Adam Baron thing, your daughter cannot be in America over here and then you give them, government land. Purumung, momi yalongo is a land son. And the phone masakunda land phone tala so go. What is that? You lived here for several years and you have the gut to come out to say, oh, I'm a Gambian. Fede da malong Gambian. Fede da malong Gambian de ban. Gambia, million fulani nana. What Allah di, all better. And then you still go around and then say, oh yeah, man, what time on bicho do, sunkaro kono ni kala kara bicho dala taji ali kuji kili nana foko boy kari kuji la ngoi fana kuji. On albe me kuji. Albe mulla bankol dal mulla bankol sendi. Masakunda nara puru katili ngoni ntonya tamani. Barato la masakunda mam fatani yaja me fanga yaja. Maybe fana you people wanted yaja me to go out of jealousy because natara kom katonya sabati ni Gambia. Atolo fam motili mbal man. First you kill these police officers. You want to come and lie about, this brother. Mi yalon ko, momo be bota burfur ja kweti la ko ndoke manke rebelti. Tol ni min ka borim filo ko no time o dindi time on kombe Red Cross yalla, atole jeki bi al kontole o mu rebelol. Mone o ke rebelot. Now, let's look at it from this critical point now. Now, do you know why it took the government so long to bring out a gun? Because if they actually quickly bring out a gun, it might not be the right type and people could question where did this gun come from. And that was basically the question that the journalist asked at the government press conference. This is the best question ever asked at that press conference. What is the gun type? And the agitation you can see. No, after 10 days, you'll pick. But how and why did it take you 10 days to pick that gun? Why were you intimidating the boy's family and then Aliya family Dalbe Sajalman Kidijeje? Why did you even arrest the brother after he just spoke to the media? Why did you even arrest Mankajang if you wanted to get the right side of information? So all of that mutilimbali aletemini alonko, masakunda ka bara wallala. And then the funny thing they did when they arrested Usainu Bojang, and the way they want to actually give public opinion, they want to direct public opinion towards criminalizing this dude. Then ko mi yalon ko nyamo be drawing abala it had a would do way. So wala nyinde ko hey maybe nyama sabala lo mo fala lo because you people associate nyama sabo with criminality. So why did you even need to give him a cert like that? That is to actually portray a certain public, reaction. So ninga dolje ba fala ko no, this case is in court. Don't talk about case jalle be court jamini alongo mulka faje fo hani jojo fo wila modola fo buka tambino. Fo bila sida because he's our brother in the hood. Hey, ndolo buka nyala tombondir gede. Because mommy along quite and we all grow up in the same community and it's not a rebel. We don't give a fuck to whatever any of you think. Don't mind the language. It is just what it is. We are pissed enough. So mvutata wala tembodo. The gun cannot undergo, on the DNA. You know why? Because you people don't want it to be exposed. And that is why you kept it in the bush for 10 days. Yet you came out and claimed that, oh no, we did not say any gun was recovered. But DIG, how did you even get to the conclusion that, this boy is a rebel, he's the one who was at the UDP event with the hoodie? Even the guy in that hoodie should actually sue you people. The guy in the hoodie should be able to sue you people. Algao Miyoko, he was the guy in the hoodie. I think the guy in the hoodie should be able to sue you. And to say that he was in the, UDP court case and then he works in Brikama area council, UDP found that all sulal. But I don't know what baila. I was saying bulala lungo min namba kumasila wonwal. Even if you want, we can go to anywhere in the world. Molman silala de. Ninya kaso kavoko, ali nyintuje, wale atina, we lived in that jungle republic during the days of Jammeh, and it was more or less like an eagle up there. At Diata Direct, he can just come and pick a chick and do whatever he wanted to do with it, because everybody was quiet, and people mostly in government are trying to protect their jobs and not the Gambian people. And not all do Gambian ole. But masakunda le bo nyaman na banko kami alon ko masakunda doku ka doku lalle na faman ke Gambian ol temini alon ko ka tax jo. It's always about protecting the people who have the job. But that is how our society is. Isa fanyi masakunda kuriara tilimbali ada nyawo nya bar so mani la mota isa buloko sa ni fanga la ka doku la dami ta ko manke mo masakunda so bet. What kind of mentality is that? What kind of a society is that? And then you would come and say, okay, you have prospects here and there. My prospects are not based on defending lies. If I cannot defend an innocent brother in the hood whom I know and grow up with and are quite rebel, then there was no need to actually get a job or get an education. And this is what all of you got to understand from the community. My own cousin sister was in the same classroom with this dude. My first cousin. So if actually it was my first cousin they said was a rebel, would I be quiet? Oh yeah, he's not my biological relative. Oh, I only had to talk about somebody I know in the neighborhood and grow up with, unless if they are my biological relatives. I think the people in my community too need to understand that at one point, nobody would say, but we would not even get to the details of that, but we know very well that Usaino did not even go close to that place on that day. So, alni UDP la politico, almol dandi wala, we are all not interested in it. And then it's the most disgusting thing. The most evil thing a human being can do to the other is to kill. More so to kill just to be able to frame you and ban your establishment. That was how you people planned it. Give me a second, let me get water. So alia wuli wala kama. Alia wuli wala kama kuwala mantano wanyama. Alma muruno koma alko sayar nga nyimbo muta nga frame, and then let's just continue with it. Even after your investigation, it was clear to you that this dude did not even go to this place, and now you still said, oh, but mamu ko den do so wata mamana fala gameno al nga mo da drunk nga record to delay the time. But in that delaying of the time, you are wasting somebody's productive time. Ali wuli asifa belaka. Do you know the mental torture you put on this boy that we grow up and know in the community? So many nyimfinda ni molbe nyoji bela sare ko nyade ka fa ko kari ko ite mo belolt. If it is me, I would really be proud that, yeah, because many benyoji bela wol bala no ko tonya ante manke wati. So ndalo ko la fali alka nyimi foko rebel intangati allo mo fanialti. Now let's come to this independent witness. Iko independent witness nying. When they got this boy at anti-crime, independent witness, how did he come to anti-crime? He said he was there because a white person had a problem about a vehicle and they had that thing to settle. But please, Gambians, who goes to anti-crime at midnight to settle a car dealer problem? Who? Secondly, is anti-crime a police station? Near problem was auto. But even whereas you had to go there, let's even give them all of that. Who enters anti-crime through the back door at midnight without being processed in? Moro, look. Hani night kulopo mobuka do water wanyama so kom dulami yalonko anti-crime, a state institution, a state facility, and you said you are going to enter there at night at 12 midnight simply because you have a motor problem la dunta jabota jan imanta police station kela problem report water ita man dunni anti-crime la right gate la ita ko ita dunta nim back gate la pour motor problem wo suto at midnight oba keno la tonyati nyadi. And when the police were asked, they said, no, it's a public institution. Who goes to? Okay, go to a ministry, a ministerial office by midnight and see if you would meet people there or if you will be allowed to enter there. On top of it, later on, you know how they were doing their investigation? This Ibu so you come detective for wala kata ala so-called independent witness kama ya dunda fonga moto kona na ita ila fenkedla. You see the influence in there. Why would you be the person to go and pick the independent witness to come with you for you to question somebody in his presence? And whereas he would say that this boy was speaking either in he speak predominantly in Mandinka, but the independent witness does not understand Mandinka. How can you be a witness to a case that you don't understand its spoken language? Obakeno la nyadi. Akhirnya ndela nyala ha ibe diamu kana purunta ngake witness ode bare kama mfam faida mo fam moy. Does that even make any sense? Ale sister ni wala number je sen la mo walo ko nalta do arrest na al yo intimidate nyaaw nyaakale mam kidi kulong you still came out to tell us rubbish? How do you even reconcile all of this? Alko mama audio filter. I could play the audio for you. And you police knew you could find that audio anywhere you wanted to find it, because you know that after examining the entire audio, there is no single part of the audio where this boy even talked about killing the police. So Ali Alonoko, this cannot be brought to the courts. And then that is why you deliberately said it was lost. It is not lost. The defense will bring it. And in press conference will be benala, because we will bring them and you will be called to come and clarify why you said what you said. And where are those reports to say that the preliminary investigation reports are Befania? It was an entire fabrication, an entire script against the UDP. So, but only UDP, that crossfire, you cannot actually put our own brothers in there, because like I heard the Minister of Environment said, but I mean for Daboma, when UDP speak, that is like, AK-47, Nito Lefenko is like, I don't know, atomic bomb here and there, and confederal man can the other political mudacom, Kajafoni atomic bomb or whatever nonsense it is. We've passed that stage. Politics is about ideas. It's not about nonsense. It's not about killing people and framing other people and you expect the entire country to be silent. No. Do that at your level. But we will not watch as a community for you people to incarcerate an innocent brother that we know and grew up with. You got the dude's phone. Imagine somebody who is killing 2 police officers, very active online the whole time. You got his phone, you saw everything that was there, but you still don't know what to do, because your bosses will tell you that no, we have nothing else to do, because your DIG was busy framing the dude and lying about him. And this is a man who has over, 40 years of experience in the police, retired and giving, a contract. But you know why? Because he beka to nyokelo la IGP palaso la ntola hajita odo. But this dude, you people are lying about him, police la hajita, la hajita police kang. Allah UDP jow yala muruntal kan anu dunia be balonal. That is just it. In turn, UDP decided to be silent about it, even after saying all the nonsense about them on this case. Because, the dude in there is not their party member, though they also don't care. But he is our brother, and he lived with us in the neighborhood, and he is not a rebel, and he was not at that spot, and he never was at the UDP rally, and he never worked in Brikama Area Council, and he never really was hired to kill anybody, and nobody recovered any fucking money from him to say that, the part of the money he was paid was recovered. Sankarelo wuli alabe caring. I heard some of you jumped, you are against these people because you people in Babylon need maybe, political asylum. Anybody you see in Babylon would have regulated their status and not really using this dumb government. This is the worst that somebody could even think, that you would use Barrow's government to get whatever. We lived legally in Babylon. Look, hold a minute. People that know how much money we're making in Gambia. I wouldn't get even into that. As we speak. So I don't let Gambia from Malnafafenda. That is what some of you don't know. When people are talking to you about what we know, you start jumping with your bullshit when in reality you're worth nothing. Oh, you want me to give you the police email address? What am I going to do with the police email address? How provocative can you even come to my world to tell me that if I want you to give me police email address simply because we are asking who killed the cops? Do I need the police email address? And then you had the guts to say, oh, I am yelling, I'm a loud man. You go fuck yourself and those people that you seek to defend. We are defending a brother we grew up in the community with. And you sellouts can't stop that, including those you worship. So that is the point. That is what you people got to understand. If anybody outside who speaks against government is using government for one thing or another, that's how dumb most of you could think. And it's very obvious to most of you that people who really, if you are now born in a country and you move over there, of course you would have to regularize your status like any other person way before. So does it mean that even people that regularize their status way before, okay, if they talk about government because they want to criticize government because they want to do this and that and that and that? You see how stupid and dumb you people can be? But then these same people, when they defended you, you never even called it that. When they defended you for the second time, it was never that. But when they say who killed the cops, oh, it is something else, simply because of your negativity and stupidity. Luckily, we are expected to be back in Gambia to teach in our institutions in no time. So we will still be part of that system that you people want to really manage in this reckless way. I don't let them Gambia. I told the police all for me because you wanted to ban the UDP. You failed in that you want to frame our this dude who had done nothing to you. And then you see the same people, just to say who killed the cops, pain you people in this political establishments and NPP. Who killed the cops? What if I don't know who killed the cops? Wala Karol Balojan. Who killed the cops? Wala Karol Balojan. Just the word who killed the statement who killed the cops. Wala Karol Balojan. So, to sum it all up, what we are trying to say here is that after 10 months, a lactating mother was kept in prison, that she was the one that provided the brother an escape vehicle. And then the brother is the one they said had killed 2 police officers, who is a rebel but could not even find his escape. He had to wait for his sister to move from Serakunda to pick him in Bruford and take him all the way to the border, for him to just get to a garage in Casamas and start crying. That is the rebel. And in the meantime, I will not behave like that. This is the guy who left Bruford and did not go to the paramilitary base at Ghana town, Forest Okonade, but he went to traffic light where a whole crowd is to kill 2 police officers and then run to a garage in Casamas to be crying. That is what the government told us. This is the guy who was paid to kill, and then when they captured him, they recovered part of the money, but where is that part of the money? It was never seen. This is what the police told us. This is the guy who was hired by the UDP, because it was the UDP that they said he was at their court case in Banjul and he works in Brikama Area Council. So Sankare should come back and clarify all of that to us. This is the person that the witnesses or the military ballistic examiner said he had done a ballistic examination without a date. We had no problem with all of that. This is the person that Mama said he had recorded and shared the record that I tell him Mofala Nyamuta. Mofala Nyamuta 1 million diala barala audio nying I record me na filter. Wala atela mo wala tinyata wala tiala ala simkaro lo bondi. They are contradictory statements. This case already had given us over 25 to 35 contradictions by the state so-called witnesses. I'm going to call it witness 20 jalasot. All of a sudden, they brought it down to 13. You know why? They wanted to bring in the Senegalese army, or security personnel as one of their witnesses. This guy had confessed to the killing. We only arrested him, detained him when you people came. We handed over the guy to you. We have no business in this. We have nothing to testify. We are a sovereign country. We don't interfere in people's internal issues. You know why? The Senegalese understood that something did not go right. Well, those people are aware. So when you know you could not get the person, what did you do? You had to end it at that. But let's even look at it. When you start bringing in your witnesses, who did you bring first? You bring the 3 militaries. Many along ago, we knew that later on you people took them to Turkey. Maybe that's a compensation for the act. About you brought in Mama. Now, Mama, the 3 military were together. Mama and Al-Husseini were together. After Mama, why didn't you bring Al-Husseini? Because Al-Husseini man song, voluntarily. You had to persuade until you use a third party. Because Ali alon na ko Allah man sakunda be boy silo la kang. Mo falal la malti. But now that you framed our brother, we will all go into it, and we will go into it as most as we can. Alman politic nondi, alman faraman santi, alman molondi, alman, there is nothing that you could actually brag of that we cannot. So Gambia for that wala tembo the funding kella nyanda wala ka danke tilimbalian in tajidintayal. If this is what you fought against Jammeh, then you must ensure that it is instituted in this country that people don't kill people out of their will, and then they go to sleep with it. But they don't go to sleep. But of course they might go to sleep because these are men with no conscience. They believe in nothing. Because if Sankare, if you have conscience, you would have resigned for lying to the entire Gambia to say that this dude is a rebel whom we know and grew up in the community. DIG, so if you have conscience, you don't even need to have conscience. They should have fired you and, of course, incarcerate you for giving false information to the entire country. But I don't bother talking about, you know why? Because he better dabe kuokono. Because I don't bother la sister dingo. Mama had la telephone number nying, wala tamu wati. What habe keno la wati nyade, anu mama kata ni wamanyolo. Any mommy manyolo, wala tamu la telephone number. You see how technology is exposing these people? The three military said, oh yeah, they were coming from Palmarin. But how can you be coming from Palmarin and be calling each other at the same time? Does that make any logical sense? But you said only 3 bullets came from the gun, but these 3 military men said this guy was also firing at them. Where did those bullets come from? And then you look at the people involved from this case from one point to another, from all the investigations. Kamera Mosifa killing, or Kamera told them Malatam Gambia, the commissioner so DIG so Ibu so Adunta Jaboda Jana, and even the ballistic examiner. You are the only people in the Gambia. Yeah, for example, you are taking it from this angle. But the fact of the matter is that we will not watch you, because I told you Jolal be rebel. You want to take it as, oh, there's been trivia. That is the fact. The reason why you said Hussein Bojang is a rebel, it's simply because he's got a Jola surname. That is what you did to Salif Sajo, Omar Sajo Jang. Al jeki da drole Omar Sajo by Ami Alko Salif Sajo Dingola Mati. Fan yala be caring. So it's why it's high time we confront all of these nonsenses. We will confront these nonsenses. Adiatalia kuyatalia mbafala atola sira jang jamme dugana fi gena yan ngeen commencé rey ñi ngeen nekken duko wax yenay ñan fa atol ka jikando la jolon na sama. The entire community of ours can be silent about it, even though we will talk about it internally, but we all know this dude is not a rebel. And most of the dudes, like including even folks that look, a dude lives in my hood, I and him talk almost every day. What in Yimboga see at almost every day, they sit in the same classroom, they are best of buddies, and he lives in my hood. My cousin sister is like one of his best friends who goes to Mile 2 regularly to see him. We all grew up in the same neighborhood. How could you just jump one day and tell us that wala murebelo, the wala police all far, UDP wala higher, yokodo minato yokodo, so that he was, lodged in a motel when in fact he works in a motel. And the audio in which you said, he was talking about killing the cops, you refused to bring it in court. And you still know this guy did nothing wrong. Instead of leaving him, alma la bala tapalaya na la criminal ya, cover la nyaming, alko alanga wani dumota, ka continue ka muta purmo. Adam barola masa kundale police all fire, me fa fenafo, they wanted to ban the UDP, and that is why they killed a party jallo, because UDP was complaining about one party jallo. And then upon doing that, they realized that they cannot escape this case, because UDP clearly bring out the guy in hoodie. Ya realize ko no one thing, and then imam kusoro no be mfola sai ko wala sister le escape vehicle provide ngam atul ko anala ko conspirator benda fen ko dato ni jamengol to mini alon ko mo provide onyo wuli ala be kering al murunda ko de muna wara muna na yala system mata alla fabrication. On that Tuesday, Hussein Bojan did not go anywhere. You can easily even know that if you go and get the call logs of his sister and whatever, but you go and bring out your whatever so-called witnesses or drivers kanaka coach to say come and say this. On top of it, Allah will be man collaborate no. A baker with discrepancies are being fanyaning to nyatano. So what I'm quoting in Sorada. We don't really care about your politics. Almanda wora alben na banko be angam brufut fangam ran tol fambe me revolution la wudin la je na banko tankam fango yaman cause batare anyi nganya danal. You people leave your communities ali alla sadel bula je alkana nan kam ka banko tala mon la sadel anu alla sadel to you people have lands there. The names that I've seen, Dr. Aissatou Touré. Dr. Aissatou Touré, I remember not long ago, I was going down Katong, land basi fabo like wetel tamwot. Sa da bena nyaadi le Brufut ite kan dolla lanta atol ko dial fangol la fatol lan jumal. Brufut dingol beje Brufut fangoy they can buy land in Brufut no more. Because you see a 20 by 20, just I think that 2-3 weeks ago I asked an uncle about the land, he started telling me 1.4 million. In my own community of Bath, that a land cost 1.4 million, just 20 by 20, and then somebody from nowhere who owns a whole hectare in their community to come and be giving free land by government, who works in government and makes way more money than a simple civil servant. Baranka karte fay député le min fana ndolla kake. Because battery am mbebe Gambia akumasta wala fangoto. Imagine momi yal nga deputy dol long dol beje min yalong. Okay, some of them were my students. With all due respect, these folks I wouldn't even get into. But other people min yalong ko ngol lon juna dol beje ngol je wol ba moto boron dol lan jang. Nga dol je wol mantra num fenna nyim banko kam. Wal ye jeki dronke to la salary la fa nyala mi yalong ko one person's 5 years salary is more than another person's entire civil service career, who is more educated than you, who is more professional than you, who is more beneficial to the state, more productive than you in all aspects. Or you people work just 10 years, we pay you until you die, and we pay your children again, and then you took our lands and then share it among yourselves. Or if you serve 2 terms, you are entitled to, you can find a retirement, and then already you people shared our lands, and then what nonsense is that? And somebody who worked 45 years in government would retire, and then you'll be giving them, retirements of 3,000, 2,000. This cuts across all political parties that have their people in the parliament. So it's high time that young people in this country rise up to change the system, because this system is corrupt, inept, and inefficient for the country. They are only serving themselves. I saw a state minister who was on a travel mission. Ala bago ya sunya, ala passport bakono, ala laptop bakono. Days later, he appeared on TV to say that Gambia is the safest country in the sub-region. Even your conscience cannot even tell you that Moro is sabari coming for Tonyante. But I'm for that all tembo ne palaso de mina drong. Ikai mingo for draw ko lafo. Imala fena gomu ni dara. Fofo la nyutolo. Kon deka bi dañ koy taxi yon. Banko dol nge jele falinda tenwon in Tonya wala sabati nije. Ba wal tawda la le police wala fal bodo al kalben do la bo ferime. Nalbe politiko kala fo politiko dandula. Alman politiko nonti. Alman farmansanti alman fellonginti. Wotatol mo masakunda kurum balti atol mo masakunda tajirinte balti. But ali akumazi wala nyama. When you people came in force, you started with the 10,000 brown envelopes. And that is how you actually got certain people towards you. But what I don't understand is, days ago, my story is a very different. That is why sometimes people find it difficult to understand, because the other day, one of my uncle called me from the UK, he said somebody was saying, oh, you're Manjago. Oh, no, I'm not. But of course, I speak that. But a woman I consider my grandmother, of course, my grandmother, I would say that. So she said, hey, Omar, like I listened to something the other day, you were talking about this and that, but I was like, Grandma, you gotta listen. I remember when Jammeh said Gambia was an Islamic state, and trying to convince this grandmother not to vote for the regime, then I said, you see, Jammeh said Gambia is an Islamic state. You people, I don't know what's going on and all that. He said to me, you know what? I don't care what Gambia is. If Gambia is developed, I don't mind. She told me that was a process to get all of these roads or whatever. I don't know how this uneducated woman could understand it from that point. But later, what we understood now is that the Sirif division, they go to all of these Manjago communities. You know what they do? They put on almost every household eviction notice. Imagine Momi Yalonko. Let's say my aunties and all the people, these people served in the army for over 25 years. Born and raised in the Gambia. I'm not sure if their father was or their grandfather was. Of course, Gambia mubendulal, the Gambia manke mola bango. We all met there. There is no tribe, no person who would say that Gambia muntola tadip. Somebody would always come from somewhere to be in the Gambia. Of course, no sabaka You put eviction notice on an entire village. Imagine a whole big land of ours. We had a castle plantation on these lands like way before probably I was born. Just for somebody to come and say, oh, government has given us this to put, market or whatever. Many alongo will be a sade lola longo mina wala sade benekinon dolongo dongoli. Kunun. Well, now they want to take the lands belonging to this old man. So come na na ibanya kampo melegin kuma. Ochimte fumja kuma no biki warata buku ngichit. Ole reka gutika da pune kaja kuma ngutara baro. Opo manja ko iba fingu ngichit pasi mbaro fingu buku na bapane ka tuparu ndongo ime unugusa buku no melano. Come you chundi kom nyante fungu legi na jen kuma ndongo unuguslar ngi dun taba chuni me kuma afinya na china achi rebel kanira kom na na. This government is no better, if not the worst. Because now, banya anchika kawapalan bukul chiripuja kuma bungal puapan because bu pikra karo nunchi buka punikeja kuma bukul kabukung buka tupike yanki kata represien pun neguru ka wole bukul kata kuma bukul kabukunu mbose banya. Ane te meja kuma gugutar pesien pementana pesien pun neguru pinga na fandir menjaku etu uti Gambia. That is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. And you know exactly this is the fact and that we're battling with in the neighborhoods in the Kamba Souths. Yeah. And then, the worst thing is I remember I was in Gambia when? About a year, less than 2 years ago. And one of my little brothers said, I said, okay, you know what? I miss going to see your land and all that. Let's go there. So we drove down. We arrived there and other people put all kind of things. I was like, who did this? He said, this guy over here. I was like, this guy that came here just 2 days ago. Many along local lungmin and dolphin or benekino the didn't meron go down lungmin. Also now they said they claim all this land belonging to this old dad. And you know what they did? Without even knowing where I was, these folks went to Sanyang police station, and all of a sudden one of my cousins called me and said, oh yeah, they said they were looking for you or whatever. I went to the police station. Funny is that even at police station, these people play tribal cards. They thought I was Manjago. Of course I am not. You don't speak Mandinka better than me. You don't speak Fula better than me. My mother's born and bred. You don't speak any other language. So when I got there, the guy that reported the case went into the SO's office and started speaking in a language that I understood. And was telling him, detain him, make them scared here and there. And the guy came out to tell the guy on the station front to say, do this and that. The guy did not want to do it. He was reluctant to do it, because he did not know me either. I could see that reluctance in his face. I came right to the SO's face. The language they were speaking, I spoke to him in that language. And I said, I'm going to report you to your command because this is how nepotic, ethnicist, and terrible you people are in this police force. Fortunately, the CID who they referred us to came from Nomi and more or less like in my mother's native community. When I got there, I said, you know what? I heard this SO speaking to this guy in this particular language, trying to say they want to victimize these people, and of course, including even me. See how you people are so ethnicist and tribalist in that society? You categorize every person in different whatevers. You come and seize people's land simply because you said, oh, Gambia. So you communities come to nana winda kampu mene kuma nyani me buka bikori jankunu mbosi chite pija kuma bukulu bungalo kangalo because banya anchika wapu mbosi legi ngentaba legi ngala nkumanda kapitiji because it's going to be like cosmopolitan areas and then you cannot do any farming, you cannot own any of those animals you used to because some people decided they own all of your communities and these are the same people that would turn around, come to your communities and tell you the youths are happy. What nonsense is that? I'm not bothered with your youths are happy. Don't take my photo and put that nonsense on it because that's not me. Happy about what? Incarcerating a young person I know and grow up in the community and you had the guts to take my photo and say those kind of nonsenses and you go to communities and try to make it look like, oh, this regime loves them when this regime is seizing their lands on a daily basis and then they are using that in, toxic institution called, the city of division. And yala wala kangaming. Any molka connively landol kunduito any pareta and I kaitol di walla for no reason. Oh, ngada safe way and run your finger career. Hey, that is not going to solve the problem. The natter chaka, the nat in the camp nabukulum kai pachiuchi. Nyan tim kare tultim da kadon putte funda mobu tul ne tuko titumi asino de ka pore de ka chiri pichate undo lani mel nako chatar ndul te week chiti ya bukulum de ka pore punata ndul ki chate ki jak mangara ka police na bukulum de ka ka fange roing police na fandir nyawe tuko yinde ka tuko tim kate winyam ka punata lu kamar tulu kai pichi uchi ubara de kanat. That is just that part of it. So if somebody tell you, oh, this person is against us because, cops are killed here and there, that's not the truth about it. This boy they killed, whose father has gone to jail for several years wrongfully. I know about it, you doing for nothing, and then you expect everybody to be quiet about it. After all your framings, police. Asa keno momoti la wala kono so wada nake da momoti wala kono ntande la wada ni indindi wala famini alon ko kunun na wal jointa police my experience from so tilimbali yani tajidin te yalo wadi. And the new story emanating, some of them was, no, maybe droko. That is the new story you want to put in the minds of the people. Tonyant and droko mantara hanidulatoje. The surviving lady, Ansi Jallo, came to testify. She did not say that they had any altercation with any drug vehicle. She did not say that they had actually stopped any vehicle to get the gunfires. All that she knew was they were just there and they had bam, bam, bam. She never knew Usainu, Anenama Usainu, Jeni Usainu Mandiamu Soto, or whatever. She only saw Usainu's photos like any other person on the internet. Compares. Police are not funny, but police got being on top of Banya, Kajakama, Piayu, Kuma, Bachika, Watabanyam Kaju, Kachika, Watabanyam fence. And in Bukapani, supported people group, put away. Well, then you put it to understand it. You go to this, community groups, doing, but simply not funny in your way, which is a China Banyam, and go tapal and go nonsense. Chico Mananya Jum Komudanano, open a Lalanarong, Pebukul, Nasimbadi. God will never come down to save your land or to save you from injustice of common men who are not better than you, not more educated than you, not more aware than you, but then because they have influence within government because of their criminal practices. So Komudanano Kambuba. That is what you all got to understand. So we would basically sum this up and conclude it from there. What we are telling you is they're going to release Usainu Bojang's sister after 10 or 11 months. What did she do? They said she was a co-conspirator because I tell you Usainu Bojang, and this is a murder case of 2 police officers. Why leaving her after 11 months of detention? Why now? That's another question. Why now? After your 13 witnesses, none of them said anything. If not, he told us. And he told us anybody can say that. Anybody can say that. So if other people felt offended that people are saying who killed the cops, wait for you to be killed and expect everybody to be silent. Or wait for you to be framed wrongfully and people that know you still remain silent because they don't want to get themselves in trouble. That is the biggest level of betrayal in a republic. But Gambia la bonyama, kunkili nafa drunk katarawala noma. They don't care about the collective good. That is why individuals are doing better than the country. Ika moja la office onitara wodofanga iba nyambula kasije, but nitara la suokona, and that is the office that is paying him. Where he lives is million times better than his office, and it's the office that is actually paying him. Individuals are doing better than the country. That tells you the level of corruption in a republic like that. But they are increasing their own salaries without caring about the people who deserve salary increase more than teachers, soldiers, police officers, and so on. But then you'd even turn around and kill those police officers. You National Assembly member, you gave yourself parados. You said nobody want to talk about that, right? You gave yourself salary increments alcohol total. Dolfana wulda dulado do jojo dolfana ko ara ngo teacher alfana wula la fo ya alfana talafa sojarol alfana wula ya fo ya talafa police alfana kana side ala fo ya alfana talafa. Yeah, no solo bottom, more belong. Every sector, everybody deserves it because Mimotonya the Gambia, nobody deserves to be paid less than $20,000 at this point in time because man bottom mujallet. Sukuru bottom mujallet. If you look at the basic expenditure of a family compared to salary scales in the Gambia, it's nonsense. But then you jump here, another Bruford. The funniest thing I saw, I was so disappointed. But near for Savoko, even do what? $9 silo jibe from Manokang all the way to Sadekon. It might be good and well, whatever. But if you have drainage systems from an engineering perspective should have discharge points. Brufudla jobe a bekananang sila balakang and then it moves downstream. So near Manoke Wadla is important that and then Brufud has an ocean and it also has like a water set somewhere towards Omadiana or Mafang. But where is the discharge point of these drainage systems they've created? Johnson Barrow, under normal circumstances, that should be more or less like a roundabout. But imagine the difference between Jammeh and Barrow is that when Jammeh is going to inspect road or infrastructural development, that is pure work. But when Barrow is going to inspect roads and all that, that is politics. Because obuka hafang hakilo to fankavoko no jamman keku jamanat na kerateng no okatubulundo la drong. What is that? And then my entire community, instead of coming out to talk about the drainage problems and of course the inundations that would be happening, is only his supporters that will come and be clapping instead of talking about the real-time issues that the community is faced with and challenged with. But of course, the president, who definitely doesn't know what he's doing, wouldn't talk about issues. He takes everything as politics. On top of it, Bruford should be abandoning Barrow, because Barrow has killed the cops and then framed one of ours. And on top of it, Kamola Bankol Taika Italai da Maltema. Near for dress of political, but young people like you and I probably will not live in Bruford in the next couple of years. Otherwise, you will live in your parents' house, because we cannot even buy land in our own community. Because where do you expect a civil servant to buy a 20 by 20 for 1.5 million? How? But wala na mola sa atin na mola ko ira kabulo. Ikabulo kasi jumale mola suwol ko na beninjio. They even created a road, even pedestrians. Many along ko sinatama lala fang man fenkirate wale word. Bicycle fenkelale more fenkirate word. These people are preparing our country, our community for disaster. Because if you know how to drive, you understand that don't somebody need a kofla or you know be kofla and do be kofla among round about of function. How are you going to go do that? On top of it, still be doing community, its infrastructural development should be good. It should be well and good and productive for the community, but instead it's going to bring more problem to our society. You make drainage systems that have no discharge point. Where do you expect the water to go? Where do you expect the water to go? You should have come and look at things and look at, okay, why is this like this? Because when government is to really do inspection of infrastructural development, minister what is going on in this country? We took 25 steps backward. And now some of you want Barrow to continue as president for the next term. What about what I remember when we took me along quarter hey, this is the candidate. Oh no. But then people will convince you, boy, no, ya long falling way kedrong mana kona sila. Tola Bruford imana bangol beta ka talai da maltem. E bora wada ko renge ika mol fay ka lan na sade mol ka. Barrow support ka bakiti wai. That is the fact. So what I'm for that temple to me along ko, our community must rise and defend the truth. Nal dingol lo malte dela what only one the dingo makweta la ko tonya lo munyemun seniority and amanke rebel ti albo anyanta wala fola. So defend the truth and nothing else. So what about it? Because time is going, we've been here for quite some time. But the fact of the matter is that Usenu we grew up with in the neighborhood, we know him. He is not a rebel. He did not kill anybody. Masakundale police will fire mina wala after UDP la ban. Ima UDP ban no. Imurunda ya alamu kamimake. Itola konya ko omo rebel ol tabe do ko brikama area council de. Mole haya pura I think police will fire. Abeno UDP la court case do. Obe pura UDP non de drama almo be keno. Almurunda nakala sister escape vehicle but momi mu rebeloti obetano la ay police will fight kana Gambia bela ta Casamance karasi garasu da kumbo o mu rebel sifal alla fanyal be murunda al fanka. So what the dingobula whatever you people want to do with your case, you do with it. But we will not sit as a community and tolerate this nonsense. Because it is obvious to you that you people knew who killed the cops. And I told them because we did not bring about a change in the regime just for people to continue killing people for no good reason. I'll come in Boraja, welcome more father. I'll come I'll go to Gambia Bela land beta ya ketadi. I told you and Barrow, you jump and say, no, I took the land. Yet Barrow, you have no entitlement to that land because that land belongs to the state and it belongs to a state department. So you cannot take a land that belongs to the office of the Chief Justice to make it your personal property. What a kenola. What a kenola. And even whereas you do it, someday somebody will become president, we will take that land from you because it can't take. They can allocate you a land that has never been allocated to anybody, well and good. If you don't want to go to your Manka Mankunda, go anywhere you want. They can allocate you land there. No problem. Which is not allocated, but an already allocated land to the office of the Chief Justice belongs to the office of the Chief Justice till posterity. You cannot make that your personal property. Itanteng hana atara fo be jesana lata sannola because man sakunda la dulalong anu Chief Justice la residence law and wala nyama allocate wala nyama an already allocated land you want to remove that from the state and take it as your personal property. Abuse of office la tambira wala, criminal practice la criminality and governance la tambira wala. If you look at the report by the World Bank, comparatively Gambia among other countries, you people are doing worst in every aspect of human development and as well as governance. Man, I'll more report all the details for more. That you see how you people fabricate. You just jump and say, oh, they say Gambia is doing well, economic wise. Well, the monetary policy has failed. That the Gambia government, is probably worst off than any you could ever imagine. That inflation in the Gambia is worst of today than 3 decades ago. Afuta the record number that me in the last 30 years. $70. Governance wise, at all Duma compared to Yalni min compare. Poverty has increased. 25,000 more people will be in abject poverty. Report all of. So I don't go report or celebrate because of one little caption and you think people don't know what was going on. We read the entire report. The Gambia is doing worse off today than it was ever doing before. Kofuari abe kafukan na banko kani. Tajindia ni tilimbali abe kafukan jele. Mansakunda tilimbali abe kafukan jele. So what's the point? What is this government doing good? Not after word like around the Sila project, all that. These projects were all Yaya Jammeh's project. And politically what you people did, Yaya Jammeh has said Gambia was an Islamic state to get these projects from the Arabs. That was politics. But you also used that to say, Adundaja, you cannot brag. But of course, I give you the credit because, governance is continuity. And you were able to continue and execute these projects. But atole munake no alfamoli. Atole munake no Gambia no latre jumale baluo soni ande Gambia. Amatola kala man boro sambala 900. And boro be almost 2,500. More than double what you people told us. So atol ya jelo ko atol mi masakunda atol mi National Assembly atol kamana boso sang 2,500 la atol ka atol yalla salary kafung sa alka mini jo less than 10,000 la wol ba kala nyadil atol ni wol who needed salary increment. You an ordinary civil servant mini alon ko luwolu kata do ko la wol tanya do ko la fanga ka tora wol mom moto soto no fango e masakunda buka fuel dealer masakunda buka pass dealer and they pay them the worst of salaries less than $200. Me alon ko mol ka do ko in less than 3-4 hours. That is what they are paid in a month. But atoli alla own salary lafa nyala aliya bodo kotenge you people really because what why some other people from the opposition are silent in the parliament? Because they said travels now are always getting clearance from the office of the president, so they will not give you clearance if you want to be an obstacle. That was a Yaya Jammeh tactic. So what is different in this government? What is the difference? That for a parliamentarian to travel, you need approval from the office of the president. So if you are a stubborn opposition parliamentarian, and will be say baby deal because they are only after their pockets. They are never. It was never about Gambia. The country is more backward today than it was ever. Of course, if we talk about this infrastructure, OIC and all that, OIC is a Jammeh project, of course, well and good. Thank you for continuing that project. But aside that, what else have you done for this country? Of course, we have seen other road connections, well and good. But in terms of human development, our people are more backward today than they were. So I told them, Moneki, yeah, you can, okay, I'm gonna see if I'm able to send you a request. Okay, I'm gonna give it from me. But otherwise you can send me a request and I'm able to add you in. I'm not seeing you over here. I'm trying to pay you in. But request sending I'm able to bring you in a moment, you know. Yeah, so it's important that before Sare Mol, you know, your dad will kachara because still so that's the point we've got to. You know? You want Barrow to continue as what? To continue doing what? Hey, nimole democracy la kele wado Barrow unkai alonko ini Gambia no lumbala la nyobulle fadan bla. Senegal man falling to Tilimbali akona. Maki wanted to actually get another term. You tried at least, you know, Gambia for the temple, the honey be more dantana mudala fatonya sabadina bankokan, or what will see the poor way soto. We cannot fight, you know, something for the country to change for good and then for you to take a U-turn and want to bring us back to where we came from. Or probably worse than where we came from. You know, if I were teachers, all the teachers will sit at home and see for National Assembly will all go and become teachers who are increasing their salaries. Are you better than the teachers? Imagine an ordinary National Assembly member is paid way more than a university professor. Some of them, many along they are ordinaries. Imagine your student is paid more than you. A little person who would jump me along kabuka angale kan correct no phone. Ondamala obe luwa phone dada no la banku jumala phone. Me along you cannot even construct basic sentence and you said you are creating laws for the country. You cannot even read laws and you cannot interpret them. You are able to make them. How? That is how we actually get the worst of people in society into government positions. And this has to change. You know? I'm not sure. I'm trying to argue on, but I'm seeing a couple of people over here to say odd, but not you. I'm not sure why. But if you're able to really send me that request, I'm able to approve it. You know. Okay. Let me see. No, I can't get it. So I don't know why, but you know, if you're able to send a request, you'll be able to accept that. So what I'm quoting me along we are talking about, you know? So people even in the police knew very well Kula Manta Kuja. People in the neighborhood knew very well that Kula Manta. Even the parents of the people that you definitely killed knew very well that Kula Manta Kuja. Or the Gambia bele along Kula Manta Kuja. Misatara daring Koyaja Mekakeno Yaminka Mula Mulfa, you know, killing all your diam, wala, then the nabading all your diam, you know, more better daring, ya continue Wanyama. So whatever, but I will that it so now man dang sign intending, whatever continue, because remember he will become a very much sapping eagle above there who will be picking every chick at Mindiatai. What bena motor hanyela fem follow Bangkoka. Akakuma sten. Force you frame people. We've seen how, you know, these people killed Data Hyder and other people. We've seen how they framed Sana Sabali and other people. You know? And that is exactly how they killed the cops to frame the UDP, and they failed in that quest. They want to bounce on a little dude in our community who did them no wrong. So and the entire Gambia knows this script. And the entire Gambia would definitely account you someday. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, you know, like I said, you know, it's high time we all open our eyes. You know, we cannot just be, you know, be Yela Mota Masakunda, you clap for them knowing fully well that he's going to join a system that is very crazy, that is very terrible, that is inept and incompetent. But you know what we do is most of them would say, no, you know, you and Eli don't get into politics. We will get into politics because if we leave the politics, you know, Gambia a problem with Mindy. The people who do not know how to run our country are more determined than the people that we expect to run our country. And that is why mediocres continue to run our country. Because they are more determined to do so. In the most terrible way. So in this case, no matter how determined the government is to incarcerate, to prosecute Usainu Bojang, we are more determined to ensure that justice is done in this case. As determined as you to incarcerate the young innocent folk simply because he bears a Jola surname, you call him a rebel, we are more determined to defend it to death. Because that is the plain language you people understood, and that is the fact around it. I left a UDP because he might not have relatives, he might not have people who will talk for him. You are not more determined than us in defending the truth in this country. Let that be very clear, and let that serve as a very clear warning to all of you in this government who are so inept and incompetent. Like some of your people at State House. So we don't work in government at the same time we run here to give birth to our children either. It is our feeling that, you know, you don't feel like you want to do this and that. You do whatever you want to do. But you cannot be in government. You are creating a safe space for Gambians, but you don't even trust for your children to be born in that country. These are the people running your government. I remember one time in one of our projects, I had to do a whole survey of the whole country on something. And then we had to go to, so we had to go to, you know, one region, and we had to meet the governor and the deputy governor. Malta. We arrived there because these people are from different countries and they're experts. They start talking, okay, when it was time for the governor and the deputy governor to introduce themselves. Of course, I was coming from a Western country, but I had to introduce myself as Gambian, of course. Very proudly from Brufut. The governor said he was British Gambian because he holds a UK document. He was not proud about the Gambian part of it. He was emphasizing the UK part of it. How shameful. His deputy came to say he was American Gambian. The next minute they all fly away. And told them to say, okay, yeah, we bring in these people to run our government. If you see the likes of Sankare will not take ministerial position because they don't want to lose their U.S. citizenship, and that is why they had two ministers who had U.S. citizenship. It made it almost a male of declare me, which is against the law. How can a government be this, dysfunctional? That you even get people who basically, serve as ministers against the laws of the country. Molmi malla pura dungwe wulu Gambia, malla pur Gambia, amalla Gambia kaito fangola. Wallon minister de Gambia Bankoka. Wallon governor de Gambia Bankoka. Ndol Gambia dinken songol. What then are we doing? It's high time we take over our country from all these criminals. So funding kill time on the time has arrived. It's not time to really say, you know what, I'm not interested in politics. All of you got to be interested in politics. That is basically where we got to, if we got to save this country. Otherwise, look at the young dude who was basically, coming from work. Citizen Ajula brother. Didn't kalabante kalantangoli afasilokan for nothing. Look at this, British woman. People just come and kill you for nothing. There is so much banditry and criminality in the country. And let me clearly tell you, one of the reasons I had to move my family to the US was one time I went to, because mostly I was mostly in and out. And that's very personal and that's very family. So most times my wife wouldn't live in our house. She had to go, either to her parents' house or to my parents' house because only two of us live in my house. And, that's quite a very big place down in Sanyang. If my friends who visited there would know. So she cannot be there alone. Or if I'm going on trek or we had other things or I'm traveling out. One time she went to their home and I was there because I was going to conduct an exam in the UTG because I was almost due traveling to Belgium. I was with my very good friend Per, and he is police officer, even though I don't associate him whatever I'm doing now, So I went to conduct an exam, and from there, we drove down to the house. Imagine within 2 hours to conduct an exam and to drive back home. I go home after palantir we roll be te yellow be far in a bunkono, abening, kuda kuntol ning, murba kuntun down, all like our closets were all open. Imagine even my white clothes, people were wiping blood. Palantir will take and damn. This is how unsafe this country is. This is how unsafe this country is. And then, at the time, one of my grandmother was sick. I remember somebody just joined, Jimmy Fati, this guy who brought me up. And him and I had a call. I told him, what the doctor that basically conducted this, I don't know whatever that was. If it was like an operation on my grandmother, killed her. We don't even know what that was. So medically, that's not a place for even conscious people to think about. So what is going better in that country? What is going good? What is going good in that country? That people will come, you are not safe. You are not safe at work. I remember back in our office, even at the University of the Government, when the computer you go to office, you are not safe. You are walking in the streets, you are not safe. You are in your house sleeping, you are not safe. You are even thinking if you wake up in the morning, so the only person who is situated in the country is the office of the president, because he is guarded by foreign occupying forces. And these Senegalese, as long as Barrow continue to be president, they will remain in the Gambia, and the rest of us are not safe in our own country, because our security is in the hands of foreign occupying forces. And that is why banditry, criminality, and drugs are way more in our country. You know why? When the foreign occupying forces stays too long, looting, banditry, criminality increases at an exponential rate. And that is why I come on ikamola mane bottle le sunya inakata Senegal. Dolbe kono wale bunjangolo lo. Gambia wale ke fanka malti. You know? I remember one time he has very expensive, TV gadgets. What for? Instead of bringing back our security in the hands of our security officials, no, because they want to protect one man there who want to remain, who want to entrench himself in power. This time we will go to ECOWAS. ECOMIC will leave. Dude, you're going to leave. You cannot continue to be president. We need a democratic president. After 2 terms is enough. Ala 10 to. Ne police will fawala kama purka UDP ban. Ne UDP ban political party be siara Gambia for jaga. UDP we are not even talking about UDP no more. The young people of this country would get into politics, and we will ensure that the justice is done in this country. You know why you people always succeeded in all these manipulations? Because people who get into politics are not financially independent. So what you do is you screw them financially to force them and compel them to join the system. That is what we have studied and understood. So people will seek financial independence and join this politics. Because that is what you did to all these politicians, this little politician. Political party form 1 million or so much in they join the ruling party so that you can give them a position and then they are quiet. So what a sign political banda political so be ma from bola dundalkan. Ba watul kam molla falka wuli alanto la fondingel kam ali amena mol bende law kan ntende law kam. We are not those cheap politicians. Many alonko they are not conscious, they are not financially independent, they are morally deficient, and intellectually their intellectual nothingness is just nothing that we can even talk about. Because kuno ninte ko ere ko tonya ite be nyin lamento ite malong ite ma faham ite tan sambanola. Being a mulunko guy became your watchdog and be backing at everyone who talks against you. That speaks more of those people than even those they're backing at. I don't want to laughing. You've got to believe in something no matter what. Integrity is the most important thing in human development. Integrity is studied in school. Because I know one of the subjects I had to do in another postgraduate program at KU Louisville in Belgium was basically academic integrity. And academic integrity teaches you not to spy, not to copy other people's work, to be honest and sincere, to do your things independently. So honesty and of sincerity, dedication and dignity is actually taught in school. But atuta monla bolumini alonko, they are very, very cheap in the way they operate. Hana mani wala bo nyama. E man la fen, ene man linata la fen na fana. Koto wado la sita puri ni wala fang beya bonyoto. So that's where we have got to. That's where we have got to. So we've got to the point that we definitely got to defend the truth in this case. This case is enough for the government to come out and tell us the truth, or the Gambian people really seek the truth and justice in any way possible, because we definitely need to know the truth. So nyala be sabatila ni NPP mo wala dun kaldi mi ka ko who killed the cops. Ngam rato la falo na mini police olfa. So this statement is the worst that you people ever want to hear in your lives. Wala kalju so jani wala yala tol ju sol manjani follow. Ale min la mo mutadu wala ol ju sol manjani atol ko ka tol nyini ka who killed the cops wala ka tol ju so jani. Patol la fisiaran tol ale min la somebody in our community mutaka ka tilimbali asifa be tilingal. Atol le fisiaran tol tifo. Atol le fisiara useno boja na family. Alko mi mo rebelo da to nyante. Atol le la Gambian kaya be wala nyato ba. Atole mune no moma min no atole mune ka Gambia moma min if you people are not even profiting from the Gambia, because you are not benefiting this country for nothing. Most of you who go to work and close at work, you go with nothing, you come home with nothing. Al nana buka hani fenga la fangsot. Eh ko sango nakoro ke Jimmy umala fa jibe kanai do. So wala mtu nyadi. So Mama Ajabi have received the 1 million. Foka pare fanga mol fanga nyini kango ndala testimony yamana tembera bam. Ika mol nyini kala testimony fa tembera promo. Ngamere te ko ite millo ite wala fo eto nyala. Abe ko mol nyini ka wala fo tembera nyadi. Mama Ajabi ndanga mara bota brika mala man. Brika ngol nyadi lo. Abota jelto. That is the point. Bare alam brika minister fana o ka tolo kai ngo ala falla mazakunda minister dolta ndola sate fana do. Bawo kan dola land right ka beta lai da malte. The healthcare sector is so terrible, so disgusting that, kataji from eka sila la fam. Isa sara Gambia eta out. I remember one time I had to do like a surgery on my elbow. I went to Banjo. Now I mean you order from all from kesa and did ita from la sasa any mintage. I immediately left. We had to go online. Imagine with some white people to look at doctors. Imagine just a basic, open reduction surgery. We had to go online, checking, and we had to read profiles of doctors until we got to 1K Marina, and we had to call him, talk to him, and then fix appointment just to be sure that I could let this guy do a surgery on my elbow. Just imagine that. So fo la man dinding ta woro wala ni fula be faja. Out of their negligence and deliberate wickedness to the Gambian people. Imagine, mol katara, medical fengo de kela lansinol ta ka dimo ko tengolla. Wol kata ka borol fena mini alon ko mol la dindingol ko borol ma e ka faaw borol, ka borol mi ka faaw kon. O masakunda kurne be soro la dunia. Over 72 kids died of nothing. Many alonko innocent kids, they know nothing. Their parents know nothing. Their only crime was to actually buy, medication for their children. That some idiots who we consider to be professionals have decided to even give their license to other people to operate certain kind of pharmaceutical businesses, and then who actually masterminding the killing of our own kids, and the government will not take full responsibility for that. The parents of the kids, they were going to take them to court. Why will judges even, ask those people to go for an out-of-court settlement with government? How inept is a government to do that? Gambian will be able to see the tango ni kuda kere. Deputy ko ngeto la salary la fa mol be see ko kuda kere. Fuariabe mol falo bango kan komna kere, just a fraction of people will connive, use their position and influence to increase their own salaries at the expense of the other people. Dole be je feka fo itol fon banta han tax fon jola e ko hani fada fon kale dingol jo. On top of that, ye molla bankol ta ya talai da maltema e paradol samini alon ko dia luxurious cars, living a flamboyant lifestyle in our country, when the ordinary Gambian cannot even have a double square meal. Gambia. And then they will be driving, passing you in the streets, acting all big. Yeah, to politician or PPP regime politician or So Gambia, what is getting better? what is really getting better. And you look at the people around the presidency. They come online and talk all kind of garbage. You have Bartonya Tonya, you can do the president advice. Well, ke jutun the Gambia la fangola. Well, ke jutun the Mansaya la fangola. Because Nimansa go Hakaria Bankota, Nico Masai, Banko Minta, Manketa, Foko Karafana Yata, all in the Contangata, Lefana Yata. Or jutun Nala Fontambita presidency towards that. Jutun Nala Tambita Mansayala one. Even basic student politics, I wouldn't do anything like that, let alone to be president of the republic, to be talking that garbage. You killed the cops. You killed, Pate Jallo because you did pick up Pate Jallo, Bela Mol Tajin Teakam. So you cannot make that look like a coincidence, and then you frame it exactly like that. So that script, you cannot erase it. And then I give him journalists from Gambia, the likes of Peter Gomez. Sankare be befola. Father Gavon, It came about with experience in journalism for several years. You still have the audacity to entertain that kind of nonsense on your platform. Bring the man back and ask him the same questions. But then, one thing I would believe, a lot of people had said that, they would not have a better regime in this people. But there is nothing good about this regime. Because if a regime can fabricate an opposition in trying to kill killing its own police officers. But I mean, for the Jackal Fong, police officers from la Kebal la from Murunda Korenga Kanyim Wulia before, and then they come back and say, Ha Tonya Tonya Dolanga for Sankare. So atol Mundali Latal Bula. You people set up your own people. Atole post je, atole alomiye faje, al murunda ko ale story be narrate, ali alko sankare ta voteng, tankare afo nyama, mol murunda na kay ko hani yenyi mi foko ami hudi wonte nyindi, nyi mandra do wala nyindi lakar, wala be mu wuli alde, amurunda ko ante ma fot, police la fonni. Police la foi. And then Sankare, everything that you said, the president said, so you people and everything that you said was actually discussed at the seat of presidency. Moja lefara Gambia 1 million bounty came in la cold. Few days ago, not long ago, you become more furel tombo in Gambia sa. Gambia sa ika tamale ka more furel tombo. Alka 1 million bounty like what? But this police case, you quickly said, 1 million kirib karale 1 million odi jumala. Me ya long ko ala telephone number from president bading wala tamot. Ola kato le katale usen boja muda muda audio fengo sa audio nyine alko audio filter alma hani kana fena court. And then you still want to waste this dude's time? Ali ala mol be muda ali audio nyine nyaaw ali feng ali kilo nyine nyaaw nyal ma jal jeki jeki ale kidi do fabricate na alfangoli. And then the military, the Gambia Armed Forces. How shameful can you people? You must kunda mal latola. You must kunda matol horoma. You must kunda matol bunya. Mol mini alon ko dol fang feng aton coup d'etat feng ko leke je yolle mudun ya katol dol la bosil. Mo ko dangol mini fonyo army for several years. Yolle pekna ya katol la nyaton gold. Atol ba dok wala wodla over 20, 30 years. Some of you are high rankers. Your salary is not even up to 20,000. But I see people going to the National Assembly increasing their own salaries. One more killing a salary would probably pay some of you more than 10 years. Ole mune no Gambia adol mami no ole adole jeki adol katol ko le bakari poto safe ole minin tonyani manta even a date it does not have, and the CDS had the guts to send that to the police as the ballistic examination report on something you people have no business in. Or maybe soldiers sabo mini alon ko wol ko to la wol bande kan they know something about it, and their call logs have indicated so. What I'll tonya le tamandi banko kam. You won't get wrong, we will all basically come out and tell you the truth. The police, the army, the government is entirely complicit in the killing of the police, and their entire intention was to ban the UDP. So, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta go. So I thank you very much. It's been a long day. I think it's over 2 hours of talking here. But, y'all have a good day. We hope that, time and time again, we'll be right here, because the more commitment they are putting to it, we are putting 10 times more commitment to this case. And then the more you put commitment to your politics, we are putting 10 more times into it now. We are never interested in it, but we are very much interested in it now. That's your thing. Mbele danda Gambia motante. Senegal man falin tilimbali an until kofon kokonade. Kavoko people, professionals got to set up here and there. They came together through thick and thin. Go to jail, get people dead and all that. Purka tonya sabatinde. And abe sabatilam fanana banko kan. Wal man fisiantalti imal don disorandi. And their occupying forces will leave our country. Because everybody cannot just be dying and then the rest of the people, you know, are there all bail of Fenko Bacon of Dulabit. You know? So it doesn't work like that. So for Tonya is about it wrong. So you all have a good day. Goodbye.